Tell me when you're at 7. Oops.
Oh, we're on. We're at 7.
We're at 7. 6, 7.
Good. Hello and welcome to the Drummergy Podcast, episode 149 on this October 21st of 2025. And I'm here with... Did I say 2025?
You just sounded like Larry Gebert. Or the weekend is always in view.
That's right. I am here with one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world, Mr. Alfred de Varona.
Yay!
Yay. Good morning, fair people of the interwebs. I'm already rocking my Drummergy
Yeah.
mug.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred.
Alfred has the silver one, and I have the black one. And Alf is sporting his Kiss shirt today.
I am.
There it is. There it
This
is.
is the album cover for Rock and Roll Over, 1976.
1976. Which album number is that in the
I
list?
believe
Do you
that
know?
would be their fifth album.
Their fifth
If
album.
you don't, fifth studio album if you
Okay.
don't count the live.
Yeah, because they have
record.
like 800 albums.
Yes, they do. They do.
They have a lot. They have a lot. Good morning, Thomas Schuster. So this Ace Frehley recently passed away at
That's right.
the
Last
age
Thursday.
of 74.
I think that is correct.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
How did that affect you? A lot of musicians talking about that right now.
There's so many things to kind of talk about when it comes to Kiss because I'm like this mega fan and it
Yeah.
goes way, way back. But I'll just say this, much like with Ozzy, I think when it comes to these luminaries that lived, very well documented crazy lives in
Yeah.
their youth, that I think ultimately, as sad as it is to see them go, we were incredibly fortunate to have them as long as we did.
Sure.
And in Ozzy's case, he actually got to say goodbye in a very poignant and awesome way.
Yeah, with the concert.
And with Ace, maybe a little less so, but 74 years on Earth with that level of career and performance and how many people you've touched, it's not a bad record. So
What was your
for me, it's just all about celebration at this point.
What was your first impression of Kiss? Do you remember how old you were, or maybe what you were when you first went, what is this? Do you remember that?
Well, I think that the very earliest memories were just more associated with just the makeup and the comic book character style
Mhm.
of it. And then as I became a teenager, that's when I started listening to the music more. And then when I first saw Kiss, it was the makeup less version,
Okay.
right? In '89 at the Pavilion here at BSU, Hot in the Shade tour.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, it was a great show. And the very next day I picked up a guitar for the first time with intention.
Oh, wow.
And started playing.
Wow. 1989.
Yeah.
Wow. That was that with Slaughter and Winger
It was
opening up?
Slaughter and Winger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was such a great show. That was a great show.
I remember when they had their first appearances without makeup on, and my stepdad saw them. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, they should put their makeup back on."
Yeah. The first reveal is in the Lick It Up video, if I remember correctly. And Vinnie Vincent was in the band at the time. And, Gene never really figured out his look in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Paul was the only one that was really comfortable taking the makeup off. And yeah, the camera goes from their feet up to their faces. And it's like the first time you see them. And it's like, put it back on. Oh, God.
I think I'm like Gene Simmons. I've never been comfortable with how I look. I've always been at war with my hair, and which, by the way, I posted that picture of us from Midline from 1994.
Got a
when
lot
I
of
first got in
traction.
the
It was
band.
great to see all those comments.
Yeah. Anthony and I were 22 in that picture.
Wow.
And are you 1 or 2 years younger than us?
Maybe 1.5 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like
right.
21,
Yeah.
maybe 20.
I turned 21 towards the end of the time I was in the band. So it was really,
Okay.
1920. But that picture, it was funny because you're right. When you talk about your hair, that picture, your hair looks great in that picture, but I remember how you
It's all
used
this
to pull on it to get it
Yeah.
to lay flat, right?
Because otherwise it was like
So
this
I just remember
shrubbery.
you always just like, take the picture.
I remember him pulling his hair, like pulling it long like this.
Yeah.
And Wee's going, "Stop pulling on it, it'll grow."
I pulled on my hair so hard. I don't know. I think you have long hair. You're the guy that I know that you can have short hair one day and then you'll be like, yeah, you know what? I think I want long hair next weekend. And so just there it is.
There's a secret. You just plug your nose and you push really hard.
and it just comes
like
out.
A chia pet. Wow.
And your beard, you grow your beard really fast. Like,
yeah, well, the beard's growing a lot longer and thicker than the top of the head now. That's for sure. I look at that now, that part that I keep on the side. Look, full disclosure, I'm practically rocking a comb over at this point.
I'm right there with you.
I parted on the side. And I use as much as that cover as much surface area as I can with what I've got left, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's no changing.
You can get a little can.
I use a shampoo that supposedly helps me keep what I've got. We'll see if it does anything.
Well, it's growing long.
Yeah, it keeps growing. What I've got keeps growing.
Yeah.
But eventually it's like the crypt keeper where you've got long hair, but it's not
the crypt keeper. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that photo was from when I first got in the band, and then I started going through other pictures. I'm like, okay, here's my 1990 hair, here's my 1992 hair, 94, 95, the braids in 2000.
That's right. The braids were really cool, and you must have loved the braids because it gave you at least the feeling of having straighter hair that you could kind of whip around and feel it kind of. Yeah.
Before just like you move and this whole thing just
it kind of went with you.
It was a hair helmet.
It was definitely a hair helmet. That's when Mary introduced me to hair products.
Yeah,
that helped a lot to tame that down. But yeah, the braids, when I had the beads in the end of the braids, and those would come whipping around and smack you in the eye or the tooth or something. It was kind of stung a little, but it was good. It was good.
That was the closest you've had to dreadlocks. You probably could have dreadlocked your hair pretty well, right?
Probably could have.
How thick it was.
Yeah.
That
but usually people, when I see with dreads like that, they're usually in really dirty clothes and not wearing shoes.
You might have had to adjust your lifestyle a little bit
back then,
to fit the dreads.
The smell of patchouli oil constantly happening around the house. And other smells.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to I usually start this off with the National Day of Ridiculousness.
Yeah.
So
what do you got there?
Today is National Apple Day.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be Apple Pie Day, but it's Apple Day.
But you can make apple pies with your apple.
You could.
You'd have to, because I'm not really a huge fan of apples on their own. Nah. A lot of people it's a very healthy snack, but what else? Give me a slice of cheese or some peanut butter with it or something. Come on.
Well, I have this this vine of grapes out here. You should leave with at least some grapes.
Nice.
It's like eating candy. They're
awesome.
Seedless, and I'll go out there and clip some. And
they're really sweet.
I can't get them in my mouth fast enough.
Grapes are pretty good. Yeah.
Gary Tack
I've just never been a huge fruit guy. Yeah. Gary's here. Chris Fuquay said hi a couple minutes ago. It's great to see Chris. I think he's out of town right now. He works in California. During the harvest season, he works. And he supports the machinery that harvests olives and makes olive oil.
Oh wow, I had
James,
no idea.
I totally was.
Chris is a process engineer. Really impressive history of work there.
Oh, James says you can't do an episode without bringing up shoes.
So, Alf, what's your policy on shoes on stage?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
We'll get.
You can't derail the show producer, lady.
James is the one who brought it up.
Well, I think he brought it up because he brought up dreads, and then I brought up the picture of you know what I mean. I'm getting the look.
I don't see how dreads.
I know.
And shoes
I'm
were
kind of
really
back away from the laser here.
I can see that John is on.
Oh God. Yeah.
I don't know why he thinks about that so much.
John missed his breakfast.
He did. He did.
Did he tell you about that?
when John Pisano was on.
He didn't. He left afterwards. Well, you went straight from here, I assume, from the podcast, the 2 hours out to the van to make that video before he left.
We did. We were supposed to have breakfast, and he's like, "Man, I got to get to a yoga class or whatever he was doing."
We're like, "Why didn't you
That's
tell
funny.
us? We could have stopped earlier."
JB's here. Good morning, fellas. I know the toils of
Trying to
straighten my hair. Yeah.
Party
on, kids. He told me to, because I talked to him on the phone late last night, and he said to tell you you're a good feller.
A good feller.
Yeah.
You love B.
Yeah.
B and I go all the way back to the very first incarnation of Zex, which was actually called Damaris, because him and Pete were high school friends.
Okay.
And
that's
how far back we go.
I did not realize.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when Pete and Brian and I got back together in the late 90s after the midline, my time in midline was up. JB gave us a place to play at his mom's house. We didn't really have a rehearsal space at all. So the very technically little known fact, the very first version of Zex was actually a 4-piece with JB kind of sitting in on guitar as well.
Oh wow!
While we were just kind of starting to write our earliest material. So.
Wow, I had no idea.
What a trip, huh?
I've been in the band with JB now for like 9 years.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. And he's done such a fantastic job of, like all the new material. I was listening to it with the boys on the way to the show the other night to Stymie's celebration of life.
Yeah.
And Brian was blown away by how good Onward sounded, and I said, but listen to it, because in a lot of ways, now that it's the 4 of you writing some of the new material, it still sounds like midline.
Yeah.
It has that exact same sensibility. And of course, JB could do a million things on the guitar.
Right.
But what he plays is very evocative of the direction midline's always taken, with the simplistic melody, the leaning into the rhythm aspect more than anything flashy. It's so cool.
JB and I talked about that very thing last night, because we have a new song that's close to being done, and so we were just talking, and I told JB, like, when he first came into the band, like the thought of somebody else, because Scott was sick.
Yeah.
And I said, it's so important to me that we don't lose the vibe of the band.
Yeah.
And JB came in and just fit in so seamlessly.
He understood the assignment. And then him and Scott did spend some time writing together too, right?
A little
he
bit.
Absorbed a little bit of that firsthand.
Yeah. But I think, JB said, I was there to serve, like, I just wanted to, he's like, I respect the brand, and I just wanted to, cool. And he had to be ready to go in a lot of different directions. Like, is Scott going to play the show or not the show?
Right.
And like,
for a couple of years.
So if Scott's playing, I'm going to play this. If Scott's not playing, I'm going to play that. And it was, me as a drummer, I'm like, just appreciating him doing that, but kind of looking back at it, like, that was a lot of pressure to be in that situation. Oh, McCrossie's here. I don't even know if I should read. In the last midline photo you posted, Fred has the dead cold eyes of a serial killer. Was he mad about his haircut or
a Pocahontas jacket?
Pocahontas jacket. That's what you were wearing.
Yeah, that's what I was wearing. I don't know where that came from. I think Weeze told me to put it on. I think it was something he had in his closet.
I'm sure. I think all our clothes that we're wearing were jackets of Weeze's.
Hey, listen, Jim, before I forget, man, text me your address down there in Florida. I got to ship you your Cure for the Fall poster that I framed.
Oh.
You've got one.
I don't
Flip
have
has
one.
one. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
No, he doesn't. No.
What do you mean?
The ones over there are the 2 midline ones I got from Brian Denny 2 weeks ago.
You have one?
No.
Okay. Well, never mind, Jim. I want to give it to Fred instead.
Oh, you got it.
I can make one for Jim too.
And Wayne Levy's here. Now Jim and Wayne are both in Florida.
What?
I don't know where. I think that Wayne is on the east
like
coast of Florida, and Jim's on the west coast of Florida. Which, if you go like this, you could touch the east and west coast of Florida, right?
It's not that small.
It's not. It's pretty small.
Fred's never been to Delaware.
Delaware, is that the smallest, or is Rhode Island? What's the smallest state in the United States?
I think it is Rhode Island.
Well,
they did those You know, remember the show like that was like pranks, like when we were kids? I can't remember the name of it. But they did a thing where they put signs out as you were entering Delaware that said Delaware's full, and you had to turn around. And so they videotaped this, and people are turning around, leaving because Delaware was full.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Anthony's here.
Tony.
Wayne says he's in Tampa, and
oh, that's really close to
that's
Jim.
Not far from Jim at all.
Yeah.
I think Jim's just barely north. Jim can tell Wayne where he lives if he wants to, I guess.
I thought he was just south, but I don't know.
Do those two even know each other?
I have no idea.
I would think
do
they
now.
would.
All right. How about a brief summary of our history together to set the stage for all the other things
we
can
will
talk
in one
about?
moment, Alf.
Okay.
Today is Back to the Future Day.
Woo!
Oh!
Great Scott!
Wait, who comes up with all this stuff? I
don't
get
know.
it, but like
Google
National Apple Day, Back to the Future Day.
Pumpkin Cheesecake Day.
What?
Yeah.
Today's Pumpkin Cheesecake Day, too?
I guess that makes sense.
So I want to tell. So when I posted that you were going to be on the show, Jared Anthony says, "Oh boy, here comes the stories," which we could probably sit here for days and discuss stories of the ins and outs of everything, which I think we should do to some extent. But I'll tell you, when I first got in the band with Midline, Alf drove this kind of baby blue colored station wagon,
Plymouth Reliant.
And
I love that car.
I don't know where we were going, but I was riding with Alf, and Alf got pulled over.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And
I think the whole band was in the car, I think, maybe.
I don't remember that, but I do remember I was with you in the passenger seat, and probably with my hair, right? Like this. And
oh my God.
The cop came up, you know, your driver's license, registration, blah, blah, blah. And he said,
I can't even imagine.
And he asked what your name was. You said, Alfred de Varona, little d, little e, capital V. You had to spell de Varona for him. And the attitude behind.
Was it really that bad?
Little d, little e, capital V.
No.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe
Oh,
it.
you were
What a little punk.
You were a snarky, long-haired dude
What
driving a
little punk.
baby blue station wagon.
Yeah. Yes.
I will never forget that moment ever.
I suppose that kid could be full of himself sometimes. Thank God for maturity.
Alf, we have a long history, and I think that you wanted to set that up. Let's go,
I
baby.
do, but
let's go, baby.
But now I'm not ready. Now I want to go Back to the Future.
No.
But you said this about Back to the Future, but before you came out, I was looking at what you had queued up to talk about. Yeah. And I know that you always talk about National Back, these days. So today's Back to the Future Day. I had one thought on that.
Yeah.
And there's the scene in the movie where Michael J. Fox plays the guitar, this ripping solo.
Yeah.
And he stops, and the entire audience is just looking at him, right? Because they don't know what to make of this futuristic guitar shredding. And so many times, I think this is with the Cliff Miller Band mostly.
Oh, no.
The band gets done through a ripping song, we all just kind of build into this amazing crescendo and just damn, bam.
Yeah.
And it's just there's not a noise in the audience. You can hear a pin drop, and that's when Cliff says, "Your kids will love it."
He does say that every once in a while. Yeah,
that's if you ever see Cliff say that, that's where the reference is from, and that's what he's referencing is the idea that everybody's just kind of staring at you after you just melted the stage. And what else is there to say? Don't worry, your kids will love it.
That's funny.
Okay.
If it's going well, Cliff says that's some fancy dancing.
Yeah, some fancy.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And there's
and if Matt's playing with us and the song goes over well, it's an original, he'll say that there's a Cliff Miller original.
He will. Yeah. And it's in Darlin', I believe, when Cliff says, "Here we go, meow."
Here we go, meow.
Here we go, meow. Chris Housel's here.
Oh,
the
Christian.
Amazing musicians right there. Two
Hello,
amazing
Chris.
musicians right there.
That's awesome.
Having a chat.
And Christian, obviously, I'm just such a big fan of Christian, his school, the way that they're touching the hearts and minds of future generations of musicians and artists. I'm exposed to that a lot through Sean Scribner,
sure,
and Jukebox, but I follow Sean on Instagram, and he's just he's just such a great champion for all of his kids. He goes to all their shows, sets up a lot of shows for them to play out in the community. And I know that I'm sure that the rest of the staff is just as amazing, and Christian's in charge of all of that. So thank you, Christian, for securing the future.
Yeah. If there was any school around like that when I was growing up, I was totally unaware. Of course, I grew up in Caldwell, and so and our world was like this.
Right.
We have a wider view now, but that's a pretty cool situation.
Yeah, it's amazing
with that school and the people cool. that he's able to bring in to work with the students.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty. I did see a post that Sean had made of one of his students who's recorded here doing a radio thing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at that.
Oh, they're all doing such cool stuff. Sean's been there long enough now to watch a lot of his students, become adults and go do cool things in the world. Yeah. So it's so cool. He'd be a great guest.
Sean.
Yeah.
Christian would have to give him the morning off.
I'm
sure you can work that out.
We'd have to do the summer.
Do like Thanksgiving break.
That's right. The summer would be good.
Yeah. And we've had great discussions with Sean here when we didn't do it this year, but the year before we recorded their album, the school's album.
That, yeah.
I don't know who they had somebody else do it different this year, but it was cool because we had like 40 some students here over.
I was gonna say that was the day you answered the question, how many kids can fit in that room over there?
Yeah, it was
well, it was 34 over the course of.
Was it 34? Well, whatever the number was. I was just guessing at 40, but
like they weren't all here at the same time. They came in waves.
They did. It was
really fast paced.
Sean did a great job of managing like not just like what was happening in here, but outside of the courtyard and where people were parking.
You can imagine.
There was a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And I'm always the cable guy. I'm plugging this cable in over to there, and Mary's keeping track in her book on it's good. It was great.
Yeah. It was a really cool project. Yeah.
But let's talk about you and me, especially me.
All right. Here's my take on it.
Where do we go?
I try to just keep this really succinct. All right. So Fred and I played together in various projects almost over the course of 35 years.
Yeah.
First, Midline.
Yep.
And you joined in 94. Is that right?
Yep. Right after you get the radio.
I had been in the band for about a year at that point, and then you joined, and we were in the band together for about another year and a half, 2 years. And then I left in 96. And so did you, although you came back soon after. You were gone for a couple of years. So that was the first time Fred and I played together in the mid 90s for about a year and a half, 2 years, and established a great musical chemistry right then and there.
Yeah.
We helped write a lot of really cool songs and took the band in kind of in a slightly different direction. Right. Yeah. And then you and I stayed in touch and had some, we would always cross paths and play shows together. Midline was great about giving my band Zex a lot of shows in our early time.
Yeah.
But we didn't technically play together in another project until 2011 or 12, when I came over here for your 40th birthday party, and you said, I've got a new project with Jim and we need a bass player. And we jammed that night, and it was like, dude, this is awesome. We should do something with this. And so we got Cliff and became a 4-piece Cure for the Fall.
Yeah.
So that was our second project together, which lasted about 3 years. And we played some great shows, did some great recordings. They're out there on Spotify.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Those were all really pivotal, but I look back on this more and more now and realize how much this next step led me to where I am now, which was in 16 or 17. I can't remember what it was. Fred and I are playing in Cure for the Fall, and all that Fred and I have played together up to that point is original hard rock.
Yeah.
And you said, hey, I'm playing with the Emily Stanton band, rhythm and blues, and we need a bass player to come sub some shows. And you're the guy. Trust me. You'll love it. You'll be great. And I was so unsure about getting out of my established genre. All I'd been doing for the first 20 years of my career was just playing original hard rock.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, well, how bad can it be?
How bad can it be?
Right. And that essentially became like, it just blew open my mind into a whole different world of new genres of music. And I realized that, man, it doesn't really matter what I'm playing. I love performing. And so that act gave me the chance to play in a whole new set of venues. And we're playing wineries on Sunday afternoons.
Yeah.
and actually making money.
Right.
As anyone knows, it's in an original band. By and large, all the money you make, which is very little, just goes back into the band, you know. But all of a sudden, I'm playing on weekends and actually keeping some take-home money.
Yeah,
playing R&B and playing these nicer venues. So that was like just huge issue, and I loved it. And it was a whole different genre, and it brought different elements of my playing out. But then that ended in the end of, I think, 19. And I was really heartbroken. I was like, I loved having that gig. What's next? And that's when we picked up with Cliff.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I didn't know for sure that I would be a good country or Americana bass player, but that worked out because I'm like, well, you know, I'm going to follow Fred here. and Cliff, you know, the three of us already had that chemistry from the previous band.
Right.
And again, the same thing was proven to be true, which was like genre notwithstanding, I just love to perform and be a part of a great band. And then it was actually Cliff who told me about the jukebox audition.
Right.
Oh.
And
dang it, Cliff.
Yeah. And but the thing was, by that point, I realized, hey, a wedding band, like I might not have even gone out for that audition 5 or 6 years earlier, but now having an experience as I did outside of my original genre, I realized that could be a fantastic opportunity, and it has turned out to be an incredible opportunity. So in a lot of ways, I'm giving you a lot of credit for pulling me out of my original kind of vision for what my career could or should be. Yeah, and that's a big part of what we got. Now, the subtext to all that, which is something we could get into in endless layers here, is that if you've seen Fred and I play in any of those bands, whether it was Midline in the 90s or Cure for the Fall or the Cliff Miller Band, it's the same two guys playing very much the same way, sometimes even the same riffs, regardless of genre.
Right.
And it's incredible to me that the chemistry can be so like underneath all the layers of whatever the music is on top.
Yeah. When I was growing up learning to play drums and having this desire to play in bands, well, I guess one thing that really sticks out is playing in jazz band in high school. And one of the songs that we were playing was more rockin', right? And we had the benefit of MTV. So you would always see, like, I was always into the hair metal bands, you know, Poison and Warrant and all of those types. And I not really like looking at the substance of the band necessarily, but just like the visual of it, this larger than life thing was really appealing. Yeah. And you know, you could strip away anybody's opinions of that music, whether they like it or not, but just, it was this big, larger than life, playing in arenas, huge stages, lighting rigs, all of that stuff. I was really drawn to that. And so I'm playing in our high school gym with the jazz band, and I'm playing, and I had learned how to spin my stick. So I'd play like this, and I'd do this spin, and nobody in the school had ever seen anything like that. So the student body was just like, and then I got all this attention after that for a little while. And that just like fed this thing into me, and which Mary gets. But I fed off of that. I craved that playing live thing. And so I'd put bands together, and you know, putting a band together is a huge thing to start with, especially. And then when you're younger, you know, you just want to rock. Yeah. But it got more and more serious for me, and the people I would play with, they didn't follow suit in their I'm going to do this for my life kind of a thing, where I was like, I want to do this. And so I was always the one that was wanting more. And it wasn't until I got into Midline that I was with people that all felt that same way that I did, and immediately connected with you, like just as friends, and like the musical, this love for Rush.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I had spent years in my bedroom learning Rush songs, or trying to, and never once came across anybody else who had that same thing until you came along.
Up until that point, really?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, and that's why I do think that, you know, when people are putting bands together and they talk about their influences, it does matter, right?
Yeah.
Because that gives you some common language,
right,
to from
That
which to kind
connection.
of kick off your chemistry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always felt with the bass that wherever the drummer goes, I've got some license to follow, right? Within reason. I think
Right.
age has kind of tempered some of my more extreme ideas, but that's why I think right from the very start, you know, you and I were just kind of like glue. As a matter of fact, you had joined the band coming from Tuesday's Child,
Mm-hmm.
a great band, and Jim was in that band, Jim McCrosty.
Yep.
And I remember Jim coming to see Midline rehearse, and like I think you'd only been in the band a month or two, and that was great. It was really nice of him. He came to see your new project, right?
Yeah.
And he paid us, you and I, a particularly powerful compliment that night. He's like, I've never heard a Backbone like that, you know, that you guys. I think he was commenting on what was obviously a very strong musical connection between us,
Mm-hmm.
and that was great. And yeah, we've carried that into every project, some version of that, right?
But I think what makes that work is you and I have similar mindsets for music.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've had people pull me into other things, like when we played with Emily, I had been playing with Matt Pouzon in a cover band, and you know, being in smoky bars and whatever, and I had this big connection with Matt, and so when he had this other thing come along, you know, what are we going to play? Well, it's going to be soul, funk, R&B. And I'm like, I'm not a soul, funk, R&B drummer. I'm a hard rock drummer. I'm not really a cover band drummer, you know? And so that involves Scott Alexander from the start. But when Scott became unavailable, it was like, who else can I get that has the facility to play the bass great and who would have this mindset to go, okay. And that was you. Well, and I knew that.
And you know, the Emily Stanton band and the Cliff Miller band particularly were my kind of first windows into like, okay, now you're playing this kind of supporting role. A lot of the music's already written.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you got to take direction. And I don't know if you remember, but I think the first year you and I played with Cliff, there was a lot of notes coming out of shows. And a lot of it was don't play here, play less here. And, you know, I think I grew a lot as a musician because I was mature enough at that point in my career and secure enough in my skill set to allow that direction to sink in.
Sure.
You know, and the bottom line is there's always going to be plenty of time to go.
Right.
And there's going to be plenty of those.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing with Fred Fisher, and Fred's going to put some cool stuff here.
Well, you and I can egg each other on pretty easily.
We do. And then, you know, I think also that there's a big difference between what you do in a recording and then what you do live.
Right.
Yeah. Live, you're just kind of feeling a vibe, and a song may never sound the same twice. Mm-hmm. Live, just depending on the energy the band has that night or how the room's responding. So I've learned to really just allow things to breathe a little bit more. And I don't think that I'd be the same player today if I hadn't kind of branched out at that point in my career, you know, from the hard rock.
Well, you have really great intuition with your playing, and obviously the ability to play your instrument and get around your instrument really well. That one instance that really poked out to me is with Cure for the Fall, with Jim McCrosty's ability in his songwriting, and then with Cliff stuff added into that, it was the three of us that were already playing, and we needed a bass player. It was just so impossible. It seemed so impossible to find. I think we had maybe 7 or 8 bass players that came over and tried different things. And this, like, sometimes Jim would be tuned to some open tuning structure, which that didn't make sense to a bass player. Like, well, I can't just watch your hands now. I have to know what key this is in and know your scales and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I can't just rely on where your hands are on the neck of the guitar.
Yeah.
For what you would need to do. And then however Cliff part integrated in with that is beyond my understanding. And there was one bass player that came over and he goes, I will never detune my bass. Right. And I'm like, well, okay.
And you need a different bass.
We need a bit different bass player. And that when we just were goofing off, jamming in here, you said, what are you playing in? And you went, oh, okay. And you just immediately tuned your bass.
Yeah.
You didn't even like.
That was Mary's acoustic bass, if you remember.
It was it?
Yeah.
that
I didn't have a bass that night. I was here for your birthday
That's
party.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just
the
a
E
moment
string
like
was like
that.
flopping around.
It's just a moment like that you go, oh, this is what this needs. Like you just immediately knew what to do.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's the guy. That's the guy that.
For the record, I had always said, just call Alf.
It was great. Yeah, and timing worked out too. I was in a place where I had the time, and it was great.
Yeah.
So that kind of really did. That was the key to like the second half of my career, starting that band and then branching out of that with you into other.
Yeah, because you came in and played with the Emily Stanton band, and that ended for the two of us the end of 2019, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or was it end of 2018?
It was either 18 or 19. I don't remember.
I had just put all this promo stuff together to go to. So it was the end of 2018 because I went to the 2019 NAMM show.
Okay.
And so I was always doing all this stuff, but at any rate, it wasn't long after that Cliff had his cover band he was doing, and he was writing more and more and more original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But he started writing. I remember him showing us, hey, I wrote this song. It's a country song. We're like, a what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like a hard rock, like punk rock guy. What is this country stuff?
CG.
Oh, that's his opening open tuning. Yeah.
CG.
So James says, you guys playing together create a different energy than lots of bass drummer combos. Yeah. Thanks, James.
Yeah, it's a nice compliment. Coming from a guy who's probably played with a lot of people.
Yes.
Was the E the low string or the high string?
It's the low string.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you, Mare? Producer lady?
Yeah. I didn't know if
you were talking about so getting the project started with Cliff. Cliff is
I had to learn a lot too getting into that situation.
Yeah, I think it was for both of us to really understand how to support. And both you and I, to this day, in that band, when we get together with Cliff to help him write a song, this is the beauty of it. It's just both of us say, okay, Cliff, you wrote the song for the most part, the chord changes, you have the melodies in your head.
Yeah. What
are you hearing
for
the rhythm section?
Yeah.
And we always start there. And he's very open a lot of times, you know, I'll come up with something and that leads to like maybe the Gardena bass line, for example.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't heard that. And so we'll discover those things together. But a lot of times he'll say it's halftime, it's double time. It's like, and you'll throw something out there and he'll say, no, not quite that. Or I'll say, Fred, here's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But we always serve the song and we serve the songwriter. And that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. And another thing I wanted to say is that the beauty of being in different projects, because for 20 years I was in one band and that was great. There's a lot of focus there and you can be very productive when you just the same three guys get together 2 or 3 times a week. And, but being in multiple bands for me gives me the chance to express different parts of my musicality. So, Zex has been playing together again. We're show ready now. We've got like a 45-minute set that's all tightened up, and it would mean a lot to Pete to play again. So that needs to happen. We're talking about doing a show Without Warning if they have a reunion next summer.
Wow.
We want to be on that bill, right? Those guys. But in that band, I get to play whatever I want.
Yeah.
The rule in Zex has always been there's like no holds barred.
Yeah.
If you want to sing, you can sing. If you want to play some crazy solo in the middle of a song, you can do that too. Poor Brian is the one who ends up having to hold it down most of the time. And he's the guitar player. In the Cliff Miller band, I get to play a very supportive role. It's just the bass player, right?
Yeah.
And really holding down the bottom end. And some of the songs are just, holding whole notes out the entire time.
Right.
Jukebox is very specific to the songs that we play, although there is some license there as well. And every time, I throw a crazy fill in or something, Fritz and John look at me like, oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so all of these projects give me the chance to do different things. And so I never feel like I'm lacking in one project or another, because I get to do that over there.
Sure. Yeah.
Beaters and shades for life, babe.
That's right. That's the Zex uniform right there.
Yeah.
Beaters and shades. Yeah.
Well, I have a question. So was Damaris similar to Zex? Is like stylistically?
The original 3-piece was very much, because it was just three. It was just Pete and Brian and I. Damaris was the name of my very first band in high school. Little history here. I knew Anthony and Scott and I all went to Boise High. I think John Conley too, but he graduated in 1976 or whatever.
Oh my
God. He graduated?
But in my JC, we love you, buddy. In my junior year, midline, Anthony was graduating that year. He's a year ahead of me. Scott was already out, but midline came and played the talent show. And I had already been playing guitar, and I knew I really wanted to start a band.
Yeah.
And it was so inspiring to me. And Anthony was incredibly what do you say? He kind of took me under his wing. I couldn't join the band. The band was full and they had a great thing going, but he encouraged me to start my band. He gave me my first electric guitar.
He just gave you a guitar.
He did. He had an extra electric guitar that at that point he had kind of upgraded to a nicer Ibanez, and he gave me a black V. It was called a Hondo. It was kind of more of a like a generic name guitar, but I played the crap out of that thing to learn.
Yeah. And
it was very pivotal. And so that was how did I get started on this?
She asked you about Damaris.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mary. So I couldn't join midline, but I knew I really wanted to start a band. Brian was a skater friend of mine, skateboarder. We were skateboarders together, but I knew he played guitar and he was really good. So I kind of convinced him to start a band with me. And then we had another guy, a drummer at first, for the first 6 months. And then we found Pete, who actually went to Capitol, a different school, but I knew his older brother. And the three of us played together, and it was instant chemistry, because it was like, wow. And it was like incredibly overcomplicated, like, every riff in the book, but it was fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of notes.
And one of the hardest things I ever did was actually leave that band to join midline when the opportunity came up a year and a half later. Oh, it was really hard, and it was hard for Brian and Pete. But so they were Damaris 3-piece, right? I left, joined midline. Then Pete and Brian joined up with 3 other guys and became a 5-piece under the name Damaris. And we would play with them sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
I don't remember that.
Bogies. Yeah.
And then I left midline, and that version of Damaris kind of ended at right around the same time. So Pete and I reconnected at college, and him and Brian came up to my house one winter break. I remember, I think it was the winter break of 96. And they said, let's start a band together again, but this time just for fun. Now we're all kind of past the idea of trying to have a music career or whatever. We're back in school. Let's just do this for fun.
Yeah.
And I never thought we were even going to play a show, which is why I agreed to the name Zex. And lo and behold, we played hundreds of shows.
Yeah.
Within the next few years.
Yeah.
So, but that's how that band got started. And
so how was JB in it?
Because when we first got together, we needed a place to play, and JB and Pete were in touch, and JB said, well, come over to my house. Let's jam there.
Okay. That was in the beginning.
That was in the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. It would have been like spring of 96.
So I have a question about this. Here's a guitar, go learn it bit.
Bora. JB went to Bora. And so did Pete. That's
Bora.
right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
They were Lions.
What the heck? JB, when did you graduate? So, did you have any musical background before Anthony gave you the guitar? Like, did you play piano lessons and anything like that? The recorder?
No. I think the recorder in 3rd grade.
Yeah, everybody's.
But I was just sitting in the back going, making the poor nun go. Who's doing that?
Catholic school?
I did. I went to Catholic school up until 7th grade.
Oh wow.
And
did you get a ruler across the hand ever?
My mom
Yes,
did.
I did. I got rulers across the hand. I got spanked. Yeah, it was awful.
Oh, wow.
It was great though. I needed it.
How can Alf get spanked?
I was a horrible kid. I've done it all, man. Writing on the board that you won't do this again like 100
Right,
times.
yeah.
I've done it all.
I've done it all.
It was horrible.
You're a middle child. That's
So
why.
to answer your question, Mary, once I kind of fell in love with the idea of getting into a band, I started playing on a small acoustic guitar my little brother had gotten for lessons, which he never followed through on. Then Anthony gave me the electric guitar, and then a buddy loaned me a bass guitar from school, and I had those things and started just playing. And then in my senior year, I started taking lessons from Russ Martin.
Okay.
And who hasn't, right? I was just talking to a guy the other day. He's like, "Oh, I used to take lessons with this local," and I'm like, "Who was it? Russ Martin?" Yeah.
He was kind of the guy for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah. And Russ, I think I could have gotten into midline just based on my relationships with the boys at the time. But Russ gave me a glowing review as one of his students as well, which helped Wheeze kind of get on board too.
Yeah. Did that happen at Old Boise Guitar?
Musicians Pro Shop.
Oh, okay. Was
the
it
original location
on Jefferson?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Man, I love that store.
So what prompted the switch from guitar to bass?
Necessity, like many people. I wanted to start a band, and I would have been happy to play guitar, but we needed a bass player.
Yeah.
And Brian was much better at guitar. Okay, you get to play guitar. I'll play bass. And that's how that started.
He won't be needing these two strings.
But once I started playing the bass, which meant all of a sudden I'm listening to all my favorite bands with a new ear, right? Like Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Always loved Iron Maiden, but now I'm learning how to play the bass, and now I'm listening to the bass in Iron Maiden.
Right.
And that's like, whoa, the bass can do some pretty cool stuff. Man.
Yeah. It's not just going dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
You have to
dun,
use
dun,
more
dun.
than one string.
Yeah. It's going.
Right? And you can use the whole
Yeah. So
yeah, that's awesome. Of course I knew that Anthony had given you a guitar, but the audience did not know.
Right. Yeah. No, Anthony's always been like the older brother in a lot of ways. I've always looked up to Anthony in many different ways. And so yeah, and those are such important times, when you want to get into this thing.
Right.
How do you go about it? You have to have, at the very least, obviously, if you're going to start a band, you have to find like-minded people. But I think having people to look up to is hugely important, because someone was already doing it, and Midline was doing it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started my own band, but here I am watching across town, Midline, like just putting everything together. They got management. Now they're playing with lights, and then they rent out the Grove, and they put on this massive show, which became, Hour to 5.
Yeah.
So having that as something to aspire to was really critical to keeping me going, and then having the opportunity to join was a dream, right?
That was similar for me, because like I mentioned earlier, like trying to put a band together and getting everybody in the band to be on board with this idea of doing whatever it was necessary to make it, you know, because I wanted to be on MTV. That was my Mount Rushmore, I guess.
Yeah.
Or my not Mount Rushmore, but my what's the mountain everybody climbs and dies on?
Everest.
Mount Everest. Yeah.
My Mount Rushmore.
I don't know why Rushmore.
You just walk up to the top of that in the back.
Can we rewind this
I can
live?
see Fred scaling the George Washington's nose.
That was my camel's back part.
Don't you have breakfast to make, producer? No, I had a guitar player friend of mine from high school who I'd tried putting these bands together with. He was going to Boise State and lived in the Towers. Do the Towers still exist?
Dude, of course.
Okay, so I think if I remember right, I've only been there like maybe twice. There was like the room, whatever dorm it was, it had like 2 rooms and 2 rooms, like 4 people. And Jim McCroskey was part of that group that my buddy Joey was in. And he first heard about Tuesday's Child and talked to Jim. And I think Jim told him that their drummer was leaving to go to the military or whatever the case was. And told me I should go see the band play at Bogey's. So Joey and I went to go see Tuesday's Child play. It was going to be their last show with their drummer. and Midline was playing. You weren't in the band yet. Jason Yates was still in the band, but it was I don't know how many. It was a bucket band night, like 5 bands.
Oh
or
no,
whatever.
not bucket band.
Bucket band. Anthony always asked if I got change, but I watched the bands play, and I don't remember who the other 3 were, but I watched Tuesday's Child and went, "Oh, that's kind of cool," because it kind of leaned towards like Pearl Jam and stuff like that.
Right.
But when Midline came on, I was like, that was a band that had it together, like look, had it together with sound. Just the whole presentation was just like so much higher than everybody else. And I was like, the Tuesday's Child band's cool, but like that's the band I want to be in.
Yeah.
Was what but I ended up in Tuesday's Child and doing shows with Midline and meeting those guys and that's how I got to know them. And so somewhere in there you ended up in the band, right?
Yeah.
And I had a point to this and I can't remember what it was. Oh, it just like finding the people that had that same vision.
Yeah.
That same drive to, we're going to go here.
Yeah.
And they were on that path. Because you were talking about, here's Midline. They got lights. They got the show. They got a manager. They have all this stuff going for them.
Yeah.
And that was sound really incohesive.
Wow.
I got stuck on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
You got stuck on Camel's back.
Speaking of the lights and everything, so
Yes.
James Harrison said before MTV live playing was pretty stripped down. After MTV, you had to have full light shows, large PAs, smoke machines, etc. After Nirvana, it went more stripped down again.
James said that.
Yeah.
I must not be.
And that's actually that brings up a good point. Midline was kind of coming of age at a time when the music industry was changing drastically, right? We had all grown up watching. A lot of us had hair metal backgrounds and a shared love of Kiss and all this stuff. But then also Nirvana and Pearl Jam had hit the scene. Soundgarden, Scott was a massive Soundgarden band.
Right.
So all of that was going into the mix.
Yeah.
And we were looking for identity. But I think all of us agreed the one thing we weren't going to do was kind of buy into this idea of like not putting on a show. Right.
Yeah.
Like that was still important to us.
It was arena rock.
It was still arena rock in that way. You know, try telling Fred and Alf to don't move around so much. Just look down at your instruments and put on this flannel and don't move.
Right.
So that was cool. And I think we always kind of kept that vision alive. And Midline has always strived for that really high energy set.
Yeah.
So regardless of the musical landscapes changing and who was doing what and what the supposed thing to do to be cool was.
Yeah.
And honestly, even in the mid 90s when grunge was at its height, a lot of these bands were still putting on shows. If you really look at them, they, is it any less rock and roll for Eddie Vedder to jump off of the TV camera into the crowd? Remember at a Lollapalooza? Have you ever seen that video? That's about as crazy and rock as it gets, right? For this band that supposedly embodies this kind of stripped down approach. They're still putting on a show, and it's just as wild and crazy.
Climb the lighting truss.
Yeah. Right. So to me, it's just different shades of the same thing, kind of reappearing over and over again to a new generation. They have to put their own spin on it.
But Midline for me was that band that always talked about what we were going to wear, how we were going to look, how we were going to move. Yeah. Like it was so important. Like every aspect was so important. It takes me back now in Jukebox. We've listened to every show in the van on the way home. We listened to everything too. How many people
and a lot of that
sleeping while this happens?
Yeah. It's not just about like, hey, did you play the song right? It's also about mix. John is really laser focused on ensuring that the music sounds the way it needs to sound. So that has a lot to do with it. But now we're going to start recording every show on video because now we have that TV in the van. And I mean, frankly, I think it's going to give us we're tired of just listening to ourselves over and over again. So this will give us more to really go on. Like, how do we look? How are we moving? That was cool. Let's do that every time, that kind of thing. But we would do that in Midline. Do you remember?
Right. Oh yeah.
I watched the show. We would sit there. And I didn't want to give it to him the wired control to the VCR with the pause button. We would sit there. Every Monday night was dedicated to video review.
Watching the
3
game
hours. And we'd get through what, 3 songs in 3 hours?
Maybe.
Because every 10 seconds, stop.
Yeah.
And I remember him stopping and all of us looking at him like, dude, again? You know, what now?
Yeah.
Or if you knew that he was stopping it because it was something you did, you know, the second it stopped, you're like, I know.
Here it comes.
There was one time where, you know, because I always had a lot of flash to my drumming. Now it's just kind of become part of the drum beat. But Weeze would say like something to the effect, and maybe it's because just the period of time we were living in, but like I was kind of overdoing it maybe in some of that stuff. And I said, well, why do you not want me to do that? And he said, because you might compromise the beat. And you jumped right in and said, but he didn't. He didn't compromise
That was you
the
throwing
beat.
your sticks.
That
I
one's
remember
got to stand up for each other.
That's right.
He didn't like you throwing your sticks.
Let me give Jamie some love here.
Oh, there's Jamie.
I love Jamie.
Yep.
Jamie was in Jukebox for a couple years, and we miss him terribly. Jamie was also an influence as well because he's a great bass player and was a member of several amazing bands.
Yeah.
Happenstance was doing a lot in the 90s, and Jamie was doing some really cool stuff in that 3-piece. But even before that, as he mentions here, he was in a band called Killer Instincts.
Yeah.
I love Killer Instincts.
Was that with Adam?
Killer Instincts was really heavily influenced by Queensryche.
Yeah.
And their music was incredibly progressive.
Yeah.
And I've been bugging Jamie to get a hold of Chad, who supposedly has a recording.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would love that original demo. Those songs were awesome.
Did you have the Happenstance CD?
I did.
Yeah, me too.
I think everybody did.
Yeah. When I heard that John was not the drummer for Midline anymore and that Chad was playing with Midline, I don't know if even Jamie knows this, but I started learning the Midline album and the Happenstance album back to back. Every single day I would play those. I would play through the Midline one, Happenstance one, and I would do that for
Was Tuesday's
hours.
Child ending at that point? Oh no, you were in Ritual.
Ritual Bliss, which was like a offshoot of Tuesday's Child
And
kind
so
of a deal.
yeah, and you weren't
That thing was always falling apart. That thing was a mess. That thing was a mess.
I
Oh
still
man.
parade around the house doing that.
I think that
It's fun though.
I think it was a good thing that
Do you have a
band
recording
ended
from Ritual?
Yeah, somewhere.
Nice.
I've got a cassette tape of.
We'll have to pull that out.
Because
I'm sure the drumming was great and the guitar playing was great.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was awesome. You know.
Yeah. But no, I would work on those on just I wanted to be ready in case either band asked me to. And I kind of felt like, well, if Chad's already playing with Midline, that's to me seemed like a done deal. But I wasn't sure. So I was ready either way.
You were, and when you came in, it was over immediately. Like, let's go.
Hey, Fredley, when are you gonna come jam with us?
Yeah,
Go.
that's what Scott said. And I remember the first rehearsal with Midline. I think we got 4 or 5 songs.
Fred was like, "How about tonight?" I got the drums in the car.
I'll come play right.
You're in my spot. I see you're sitting in the nosebleed section. If you don't get out of that seat, your nose is gonna bleed.
Wow.
I was ready. I think we got like 4 or 5 songs into it, and Anthony was sitting there on a stool and holding this guitar. He's like, "So do you want to play a show?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go."
All right, you ready for a hard left turn here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I need to put my seatbelt on?
Yeah, put your seatbelt on. There we go. So we can go this way. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
That's a bass player drummer thing.
Yeah.
We didn't even work that out.
No,
It just happened.
Just we're in sync.
My God.
This is something I thought would be interesting to talk about for
Okay.
a little while.
Let's hear it.
1996 rolls around. For various reasons, and this will always happen, every band is going to have interpersonal dynamics and drama.
Yeah.
Oh.
For various reasons, you leave Midline.
Yep.
I am absolutely heartbroken because to me that was
I was heartbroken too.
it was devastating. It was, for me, the feeling was like, what happened? 1 year ago, we were on top of the world.
Right.
And now, because of a lot of kind of business concerns and other interpersonal things, like the band is fractured. And now Fred's gone. And that was, as the bass player, that's like huge for me, right? Like,
it's like cutting off your left arm.
Yeah.
It was the same for me not playing with you.
And so we were bringing in people, and ultimately Tim Allen got the job, and Tim was a great drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Tim, because when he was auditioning, I was already just kind of disconnected, right? I wasn't able to give him the same open connection that I was giving you. I was kind of already out. And Anthony, to his credit, he sat me down that night. He could see what was happening. He's like, look, if you're not in, that's okay. Like if the dream is kind of faded for you, it's okay. It really is. But we need to know now. It's just, we got to make the change as soon as possible, right? Because we're all going forward, and this is the direction. And I expressed hesitation, and he said, look, it's okay, but you should probably go, and I remember exactly how the conversation went, but I had no intention of leaving the band that night.
Yeah.
But I did. And that was incredibly difficult for me, because I just wasn't sure, right? Did I leave too soon? Did I not give the dream enough time? Right.
Yeah.
I was still very, very young.
Yeah.
But something about it just was not the same for me. And so I think it was the right decision to step aside and let people that were really focused move forward, right? With intention.
Yeah.
And so that kind of led me down an entirely different path, going back to school, getting a degree, starting a career, right? Based on what I learned in school. And here I am, 30 years later. And I do think it was the right thing for me now in retrospect. But as you can imagine, I watched with very mixed feelings as Midline went on first of all,
yeah,
they opened for Queensryche 3 months after I left. God, I could have at least hung in that long.
Yeah.
Second of all, you joined again in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, now they get Fred back, And then you guys really start hitting it hard and get the record deal and all this stuff. And I know that there was a lot of ups and downs through all that.
Oh,
and,
sure.
and it looks a lot maybe nicer than what the journey was. But I'm watching this whole thing play out, wondering if, did I abandon the dream too early, and now I'm kind of starting this corporate life. But I do think it was the right thing for me. I think it was the right call, because again, that whole time I've been building my corporate career. I have stayed attached to music, but I've been able to do it in a way that my life doesn't depend on it.
Right.
And then I've created some financial security in the meantime and a decent life for myself. And so these are tough decisions to make. Anybody that really wants a musical career, that's, as you know, it's a big decision. All of Midline made some of the same types of decisions. You and Anthony managed to kind of keep a business going the entire time you were following the dream, right?
Right.
So I just thought that'd be interesting kind of way to talk about, like, when those decisions come up, what's right, what's wrong, the dream, what it's like when you're 20, but what happens when kind of that meets reality.
There's I've had people ask, and it's understandable from like a curiosity standpoint, like what happened in that point of time. And I never really publicly talk about it because I don't think it's really anybody else's business necessarily. I think it was super weighted at the time it happened, and maybe less so now, but because everybody's matured so much since then. But I think there was some knee-jerk reactions to things, like we're not thinking this through very well from a business point of view. And it's funny because I can have those same conversations with Scott and Anthony now, and they'll be like, that was a whole messed up thing.
Yeah.
From a lot of different directions. But yeah, me watching them open for Queensryche, and I'm in the second row, and I'm thinking,
yeah,
I was in that band 6 months ago or whatever it was. It's just like, that was really
well. And you had to compete. You were now in Shout.
Yeah, I was in a different band.
You never gave up. Do you remember calling me?
I did.
After I left.
I did.
And I was like, Fred, I'm done. I'm selling my gear. I'm just gonna
swallow.
Yeah, because that's how it affected me at the time. I was so hurt by the dream kind of dying, at least the version of the dream that I had in my mind and in my heart, that I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. And you, again, I think you've always been there encouraging my musical career and growth and expansion. And at the time you're like, that's going to be a sad day for music if Alf stops playing bass,
Yeah.
And I appreciated what you had to say at the time. And maybe it kind of planted the seeds of being okay with starting to play again with some different people, later that year. But I think it was also the right decision, because I have often wondered, Fred, if knowing just how crazy and volatile and emotionally immature I was in my early 20s, like imagine getting handed a record deal and all this success at that age.
Yeah.
And I don't know, would I have survived? I don't know. I had a lot of demons at the time. I've been sober 25 years this week.
Wow.
But before I got sober, I was very much not sober.
Very much not sober.
Imagine. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you've seen it a million times, right?
Yeah. When
you combine that level of kind of emotional immaturity with pressure, money, fame, so who knows? I think a lot of times the universe gives us what we need and not what we think we want.
That's true. That's true.
So,
universe, what do you know? Let's catch up on a couple comments before I get emotional over Alf's story.
I'm going to make Fred cry. For
okay,
you
so
guys.
go back to where James was
hard.
saying. I was talking about the local and traveling bar or club cover bands versus original bands putting on shows with the MTV comment. Like,
I didn't see the previous comment that he had. You'll have to remind me, producer.
He was talking about when MTV came out, then everything was big lights and everything, and then Nirvana came back and everything was stripped down again.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He was referring to the cover band traveling scene.
Oh, well, we knew a few. We talked about this not long ago, where
Shredder's band was like that.
Yeah, Backseat Romeo, and there would be traveling cover bands that they would go and do a house gig for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And I ended up in a band like that for a short time.
I think my comment on that is, essentially everything is cyclical, right? It's like fashion. Yeah. What's old is new again.
Yep. JB says Happenstance was awesome. I still have the First Breath CD.
That's right. First Breath. Yeah.
Do we have that? Do we have a CD? I feel like we do.
Yeah. Jared Anthony says the way you guys are describing the way you dissected video to create choreography is what really need to be done to get. I've really got to get my eyes fixed. Get to the next level. Finding guys who are willing to do that is very difficult, but it lets you know you may not have the right people to accomplish your mission. Yep.
Yeah, I think what I'd add to that is, depending on everyone's level of experience, right? As long as people are willing to learn, you can give them time to get there, right? The most important thing isn't like, is everybody doing what they need to, but like when you watch that video, is the band open to giving each other feedback? So one of the hardest things for me, and maybe Jerry can relate to this. I love Jerry. He's got such a love for music and all the genres that I think we share a lot of the same influences. One of the hardest things for me was when I auditioned for Jukebox, they already had a bass player. They had Jamie. Mm-hmm. So I was auditioning to be the singer, and I love singing, right? I was not the singer John needed, because they need someone that can do everything from Backstreet Boys to, deeper country music and, a very versatile vocalist, Journey at the time.
Yeah.
And I did my best in the audition. And, but he called me back and he's like, this sucks. You're, as a singer, there's some stuff you can do, but you're not the guy we need. You're just absolutely not. In order to start this band, I need a strong male vocalist. That's what I need. And you're not that guy. Yeah. But I know I want to work with you because of your energy and your vibe. So that's how I joined Jukebox originally, as a DJ, rhythm guitar player, MC, because I was going to be the guy that can kind of introduce everybody. Yeah, I can host the party. Yeah.
You were singing backup though, right?
And I was singing backup, and I started picking up some songs based on what my voice could do at the time. And so my whole journey in Jukebox has been vocal improvements. And every time I want to sing a song, I have to audition it, and I have to get a lot of very critical feedback, and it's still very difficult. For whatever reason, bass is different. I'm just I'm a lot more confident, right? But I'm very humble and vulnerable when it comes to like
when
my
this
voice.
is your instrument.
Yeah, it's a little more personal.
Maybe
there's
I don't know what it is, but it's hard.
You can't go to Guitar Center and get a different one,
Yeah,
right?
And
no amount of like gold-plated cable are you going to plug in to make it better, right? It's not.
And there'll be times when I'm like, I thought I sounded okay on that,
right?
And they're like, so you're not there yet. And there'll be other times when I'm like, I messed that up. Oh, you sounded good. So it's like this. I had this weird disassociation with like even being able to judge my own voice, but a lot of that's subjective too, right? Sure. I mean, John's told me before, sometimes he's like, sometimes I just don't like the timbre of your voice, just the sound of it. Even if you're in key on a certain song, it just doesn't sound right for the song. So, and there's only so much you can do to affect some of that stuff. So, you know, I think part of being in a band that's very, very professional, and we touched on this earlier, but is taking critique and living with it and understanding that there's some things you can do and some things you can't. You got to lean into your strengths, work on your weaknesses. Maybe you'll get there. Maybe you won't.
Do you think in the world that Jukebox operates in, the stakes are so high that you can't be lazy, you can't be mediocre, you can't phone it in, so to speak? Like you have to be like A game all the time because you're playing somebody's wedding.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen once.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got however many people are filming you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they want to hear, I'm assuming they want to hear music that whatever cover songs you're playing really represents that song.
Yeah.
Not a drum beat that's wrong or a guitar that's out of tune or a singer that's just singing, but they're not in key of the song whatsoever. Just it's like the nails on that chalkboard thing. Like that that business model wouldn't work. Right?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And then that thought did occur to me last week as a potential talking point today. Jukebox is probably the most professional project I'll ever be a part of. And some of that goes into just the way the band is managed, because we have a full-time manager, booking agent, van cleaner, gear guy, sound guy, all that stuff. So it's an incredibly well-run organization. But to your point, maybe more importantly, is we have to bring our A game. Jukebox can't have an off night. If you think about what a wedding is and what it represents to the people getting married, they're hopefully only going to get married once. It's a singular night in their lives,
right?
And in the lives of all their friends and families. You know, these destination weddings, there's a lot of resources and money that have been put into these events. Everything comes to this pinpoint. Yeah. And the band gets to be there at that penultimate moment. Yeah. So there's no dropping the ball, right? It's the pressure is there. And you have to absolutely bring your best version of yourself.
So when John comes to you and says, man, it's the timbre of your voice doesn't work with that song, we have to have somebody else singing it.
Yeah.
Like to you might in your head go, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the audience doesn't feel that way necessarily, right? Oh, they might hear you singing and going, oh, it's happening.
Right. Yeah.
So I think, John being critical and you being willing to take that critique and say, what's best for this situation? What's best for the band? Maybe I have to get out of the way on this one. I know that you've always liked to sing, but since you've been in Jukebox, I've seen this major growth in your singing ability.
That's what everybody says, but you know what?
It's true.
I don't hear it. I don't hear it at all.
I do.
It's like, you can sing that now and it sounds so much better. I'm like, this is what it sounded like the first time I sang it.
No. Dude, you know this. I'm wearing in-ears, right? And I can hear so well. And
I don't believe it.
I know for a fact I have no gift in singing. I think it's fun to
we can all agree that
and I recognize that. So I would never say, hey Cliff, I need a mic. Right? And Cliff would be like, did you bring another drum? Or
that's funny.
Cliff would just be
For
like,
what?
no, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Well, but Michelle worked with you for a bit, right? When you got
I
started.
did. Yeah. I've gotten to learn a lot from working with the people in the band. I took vocal lessons with Rebecca
Pierce.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Rebecca. Rebecca Pierce this last winter. She was awesome. Here's some other things we've done in Jukebox to help with vocals too. If I don't quite have the right pitch for a song, we'll give it to the girls and we'll rekey it. And we've had some really successful things. It's kind of cool to hear the girls singing a version of that song. And that seems to go over pretty well. No one seems to be like, oh, wow, I thought a guy sang this song, right? So we've done that with some country songs, with some Van Morrison and things like that.
One thing that you said that's really important is playing in a key that the singer can sing in.
Yeah.
Because I think bands just need to be aware of how do you work off the singers that you have, that their strength.
Well, we just put a capo.
You can't capo their voice, right? So it's going, that key doesn't work for that person. We need to play it in a different key, and the band change so that the singer can have success, rather than the band won't change and the singer just needs to do the best they can. That's like, man, what a disservice to the singer.
Yeah.
To be like, I
know. And we've actually come up with some really creative ways to handle a few specific songs as well, where I really want to do it and I sound good at my full voice. And yet the original song there's several key places where the melody just goes where I can't. Right.
Like that Bon Jovi tune.
For example,
Living on a Prayer.
Living on a Prayer is a really good one. It's like, whoa, living on a prayer. And then the girl will go, take my hand halfway there. Every time it goes above a certain note, Athena takes that line.
Sure.
And then so we kind of treat it like a duet. Or Are You Gonna Be My Girl? You know that song?
Oh yeah.
I'm great on that up until like, before I let you get away. It's like I can't do that at full voice.
Yeah.
So I actually sing like a lower line just for that one phrase. And Athena sings the original one. And they kind of harmonize together and it's great. It's been great. A band with 3 vocalists, you start to get options, right? If you're creative and open-minded.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's something John would have been okay with the first year. Everything kind of needed to be exactly like the original. But as we started kind of experimenting and then the lineup changes a little bit and you've got different tools to work where you start trusting each other. Yeah. You realize maybe we can do things a little differently. Yeah. And so it's been cool.
It's really, really important, I think, to play a song in the key that a singer can sing comfortably, and that it gives the singer some range. Yeah,
and it's about leaning into strengths, right?
Yeah, if you're playing a song that's too low or too high, they have nowhere to go, right? But you're a vocalist producer.
She is. Mary's an incredible vocalist.
She's moving her eyes around and
I forgot about something. Mary and Fred and I were in a band together.
We were?
Oh,
the church band.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not talking about FM radio. FM radio was the greatest band that Boise never quite had. But you, me, Mary, James Lancaster, it was going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But I even made a logo for it. So it technically lived.
Was that before it was?
That was like just moments before COVID shut everything down.
Oh, okay. So that would have been like a side project.
No, I was going to say one of the times Fred and I reconnected musically in between 95 and 2011 or 12 was the church. Yeah. The Baptist church downtown that you convinced me to come play bass a couple times.
See, we knew that you could play anything.
To our point earlier that Fred and Alf are always Fred and Alf.
Yeah.
I remember there was, your life, Jesus. And then Fred's over there like, I'm like, ding, 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 ding. And I looked, who was on keys?
Donna.
I looked over at one point and Donna with her flower dress on and a Sunday morning best was looking up at me and she started hitting the keys fast and kind of moving her head. And I'm like, this is the first time she's feeling like the metal vibe. Fred and I are just freaking kicking this thing in the butt here.
It was so funny.
It was super cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Very, very much so. I want to catch up on a couple comments here.
If you were playing bass, what was John doing? Was he playing trombone?
Yes.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Jennifer Kelso. Looking forward to that Fat Wizard show.
Do what?
Jen was the singer in my Iron Maiden cover band, which, by the way,
Why do you say was?
another shout out to Stymie. I forgot. Stymie's the one that recommended me to that Iron Maiden cover band.
Oh,
really?
They had reached out to him.
Oh, wow.
And I think he was like, I got your guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is.
And that was
Iron
great.
Maiden.
But Jennifer sang for that band. She's an incredible singer. And she sings with another kind of multi-genre, but metal-focused cover band called Fat Wizard. And they're going to have a Halloween show down at the
So is
in
the
Garden
Iron
City.
Maiden thing not happening anymore?
No, our drummer moved away. Moose moved to Kansas City.
Moose.
Oh.
And I miss Moose terribly. And that band was so much fun. So if there's ever a chance for Moose to come back for a week and we could do a reunion show or something, that would be really
Does the
cool.
rest of the band still live here?
No, well, your guitar player moved away too.
Oh, okay.
There's only 3 of us left here.
Oh, wait. What's the other guitar player's name? Not Esteban.
Esteban was one of them, and the other one was his name was Todd.
And Todd moved away?
Todd moved to Oregon,
Okay.
yeah.
Because is Esteban and Ashley, are they?
And Esteban is in that Fat Wizard band with Jennifer.
But is he married to Ashley?
I don't think they're married, but yeah, they've been together for years.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's catch up on a couple comments. James says, Alf, interesting comments about wrestling with regret or wonder, what if moments and evaluations.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to put that out there because I think all of us have probably had some version of that in life.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a musical journey, trying to decide
Yeah.
when to chase your dream or not. And it all works out in the end.
Jamie says, watching Alf grow as a vocalist and redefining his musical persona was amazing.
Oh.
You know what's funny is
John was really hard
on him, and he didn't give up.
Yeah. Well, I think he's wrote had, and that's where I got stuck.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
When I would go out when I was playing rhythm guitar, or sometimes when I was singing lead and Jamie was in the band, I would go over and sing with Jamie, and he'd be rocking out with me. And I'd put the mic close so he could maybe kind of mimic my line. And it's funny. Jamie's not used to singing and playing a lot. So he would always try to sing, and then the bass line would get all messed up. And I would be like, got you.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's true probably for singing drummers. Be playing all this rhythm stuff.
No,
and then
I never
singing
had trouble
smoothly.
singing.
Who's your favorite singing drummer? Is a question for you. I have one.
Ooh,
he goes straight to the top.
Well,
Kelly Keegi.
Oh, is that Night Ranger?
Oh,
yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Great singer.
Yeah. Yeah. I was obviously there's Phil Collins.
Well, Don Henley.
True.
Don Henley.
Oh yeah.
Sheila E.
Does she sing and drum, or she just do one or the other?
Yeah, I picture her kind of coming up front and singing, and then going back and drumming.
When she was playing with Prince, she was
But
singing.
I suppose she did both. Yeah.
She wasn't leading, but she was singing.
Let's see, Jared. A singer may have a good array of tools in their box, but if they're out of their range, those tools become unavailable.
This is very true.
Yep. And then Harrison.
Do you want me?
I remember.
Will you get my glasses for me?
James, if you're still watching, tell me if this is true or not. But I remember seeing the Rocky Johnson band, and James was singing "Rebel Yell" or one of the Billy Idol songs they do, and I thought he sounded great.
I don't know. I don't know about this.
So he can weigh in with that.
James says, I have a very strange voice. Over time, I've sang quite a bit, horribly in my opinion, but did what I could do. In Redstone, we recorded a James Lancaster song in Sun Valley. Even if I sang the correct notes, my voice was an awful blend with James and the guys. They didn't use my voice.
That's a good point, guys. If I've come a long way as a singer, if I have come a long way as a singer, I think the easiest thing to do is sing lead. In jukebox, a lot of what's required is to sing harmonies with whoever has the lead on the song, and that is not just a matter of key; it's a matter of timbre, right?
Yeah.
So Athena's always telling me to soften my tone when I'm trying to blend with the girls.
Yeah.
But softening my tone makes it a little harder for me to hear what I'm doing or to feel the note in my throat. So timbre is everything. Timbre is everything. That's why sometimes people just naturally sing well together. Or is it a family thing? I don't know if they've ever actually done science on it, but like the Osmonds or the Jacksons, like sometimes like family harmonies or the Judds like just seem to ring so beautifully.
So you're this incredibly gifted bass player, and over the last few years, you've really grown into being a singer as well.
Yeah,
you've always sang.
Yeah. Next up, the harp.
What next up? What?
The harp.
The harp.
Oh, yes.
Kidding.
Do you feel like you found your own voice, or do you feel like you're constantly imitating something else?
Oof.
That's a good point. I'd say in jukebox the assignment is
Imitation.
imitation. Yeah.
Okay.
Same
So
with
I
Cacto
sing
Dreams.
American Girl by Tom Petty, and I think it's one of my strongest songs with jukebox. And I think part of the reason is because for whatever reason, I can do that voice.
Uh-huh.
She was an American girl. It's like it's a character.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Yeah.
when I reach for a
It's like
character,
playing dress up.
yeah. Sometimes when I reach for that character and the character seems easily accessible, that gives me something to really latch onto,
Mhm.
and the song seems to work better for me.
But do you sing every song like you're Tom Petty?
No.
No, of course
not
not.
at all. No, we do Sweet Caroline, so I have to try and find this deeper tone in my voice, which
Sure.
is hard.
Yeah.
The lower stuff is what I worked on over the winter with Rebecca
Yeah,
Pierce,
yeah, work on that resonance.
and yeah, that's not that easy.
I always thought that Anthony would be great in a Neil Diamond cover band.
Yeah. You see, Anthony strikes me as having more natural, like a warmer, appealing tone to his voice. Just DNA, right?
Right.
Just what
Yeah.
genes.
Yeah.
And I've had to work that, I think, making my voice appealing. I mean, we always when we hear our voices, we think they sound weird, but
Oh yeah.
I
for
feel
sure.
like some people just have a natural gift for just, wow, that voice just sounds
Whitney
really good,
Houston,
right?
Oh yeah.
her sound.
Yeah, so James did. He sang Rebel
Rebel
Yell
Yell
and Metallica with
Stuff
Rocky.
with Rocky. Thanks for
That's
liking
awesome.
it. Yeah.
I don't think that Rocky's got no Metallica in her set right now that I've heard recently, anyway. But Jamie's playing with Rocky.
Yes.
It's been a great gig.
Yep. He took Scott's
That's awesome.
spot, I think. I want to know what your thoughts.
Hey, do you know, by the way, Nick Learned, the current drummer for
I
Rocky?
know of Nick, and we've texted a couple times, but I've actually never met
Okay.
him in person.
Nick is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. And he's got a band that you should look up too.
Oh, he has. Yeah. I don't remember what it's called.
I can't remember the name right now either.
What's
This
his
is-
last name?
Let's bring up Nick and talk
I-
about his cool band that we don't know.
I'm that great of a fan right now. Look it up, producer.
What's
Nick
his name?
Nick Learned.
Like you learned something?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Am I friends with him?
Yeah. He's a solid drummer. Him and Jamie, I'm sure, are a great team. I've been meaning to go down and catch a set on a Thursday. Talon Smart. There you go. Thank you, Scott. Talon
Scott's got
Smart.
it.
And Talon
me
Smart
too.
is a killer band.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I saw them play at the roller skating rink. Mary knows about playing the
Oh,
roller
yeah.
skating rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
They were awesome. They were so great.
It's
Hello, Scott.
every once in a while our weekends free up where the two of us have some time to go out.
Oh
and
yeah.
we-
And Jamie's son Miles is playing bass now with Talon Smart. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
So the next generation is coming up. Do you know that Jamie's
Wow.
son played bass?
I did not know that. All I know is that I met
Yeah,
him
he's
working at the
fantastic.
knitting factory.
Yeah, he's super cool. Miles is a great kid.
Miles had to reach out and grab me when I was going up the ramp
Yeah.
at the loading dock. It was before my leg was really working better. I got right to the crest of it and I kind of started to lose my balance. And he
Wow.
reached out and grabbed me.
Miles, thank you
saved
for
me from
saving Fred's
falling
life.
4 feet
Wow.
onto the concrete.
Damn. That could
Yeah,
have been bad.
You did.
Break
You
the
did.
other leg.
Yeah. I love talking to bass players, obviously. What, producer?
I love talking to bass players.
I do.
It's a
Because
rhythm section thing.
it's like,
Drummers and bass players, they love each other.
yeah, we're connected.
Yeah.
We're connected. I know that you and I have played a lot. You've played with Pete a lot.
Yeah.
And John.
Don't you dare ask it.
Ask what?
Who's your favorite to play
I
with?
wasn't gonna. I already know
Okay.
the answer to that.
He already knows the answer.
Which one of us is your favorite?
Have you played with any other drummers other than the three of us? Really?
Sure. I mean, well, John Conley, right, in Midline.
Oh, yeah,
before
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Conway, John Pisano.
John Pisano. But you're right. I mean, it's as many drummers. It's not as many drummers as many bands I've been in, because you've been the drummer in 3 or 4 of those,
Sure.
right? So
Yeah.
yeah. but they're all, you're all different. You and Peter are really, John really sticks to the songs and kind of analyzes what was there in the middle and in the beginning and kind of does his take on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty straightforward, right? Which is great because if I want to kind of launch off of that, I can, because he'll be holding it down. But again, Jukebox is very, very faithful to the music.
Yeah.
To a point. I pick my moments. I have a little bit of fun here and there, but by and large, I'm just trying to screw it up. But you and Pete, it couldn't be more polar opposite in your drum approaches. Pete and I we all share musical influences, but Pete and I definitely have more of like the harder metal musical influences, like Metallica and Anthrax and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You and I connected on Rush and some of the hairband stuff, which was a little more straightforward, right?
Yeah.
So Pete and I we get really surgical and crazy, and sometimes we're just holding on by the if you listen to Zach's recordings, you'll hear it, right? It's like, okay, they're just trying to have fun now, like they're just doing it for the sake of doing it. But that's the beauty in that music, right?
Yeah.
When I really started leaning into the backbeat with you and Cure for the Fall, more than I remember even in Midline, and even more with Cliff, that's when I started just realizing, boy, there's so much power in just doom 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 doom. But like the way we open the song, for example, what's the Take My
White House Road?
Yeah, White House Road.
Yeah.
I think we play, I can't remember if it's the original key or not, but it's G, and it goes down to the F, and then it goes to a C, and on the 5-string I play that C really low, right? So it's like boom 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 boom. Whoa,
right. Yeah.
But the way you play that is just and I just feel like a walking giant smashing trees through the forest with that.
I've always
exactly
right.
And I don't think I was looking for that when I was younger. I wanted to get as many notes in.
Yeah, you want to play fast and get them all in there.
Exactly. And so you
want to spell all the words with all the letters.
And that's the beauty, right? Is now I've got different projects that allow me to lean into all those different directions.
Right. Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is really cool with Cliff. Like there's other songs that are in there too that have a lot of space, and it's pretty cool. Just that, it really builds.
Yeah.
And then Cliff comes in with the melody of that guitar line on top of it.
James's point here is the power is the space between the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth in that. Getting kind of into a little granular detail on the bass guitar here. When I was young, I played a lot like Steve Harris from Iron Maiden, where your fingers are hitting the strings almost strong enough that it's almost like a hybrid slap technique with the fingers, so and you're hitting them so strong that there's like a percussive element to it.
Exactly.
As I got a little older and started listening to a little bit more different bass players, people that do a lot of jazz, they play with like a softer touch. They're still digging in on the string, but there's less kind of overt attack noise. And so when they do a run or something, it's actually cleaner sounding because there's this softer and more definition between the notes when you're not just kind of playing as fast and as hard as you can. Right.
Yeah.
And that's a really good example. And to your point about different drummers and different songs, like I've got that whole suite of tools now at my disposal. So since Jukebox is a very multi-genre band, and some of the stuff we've picked up recently has been like Paramore and Fall Out Boy, and I'll be playing in full on distortion. I can lean in as heavy as I want on that, and just make it super dirty. And then there's other songs like the way that we do. First I was afraid, I was petrified.
Oh, Gaynor.
Yeah,
Gloria
Gaynor.
Oh, what's that song called?
I Will Survive. The way we do that, I go back and John's like, do what you want with it, man. Just listen to the original. And then the original's got this boom, 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 do-do-dum, dum, dum, do-do-dum, dum, and there's all these little accents in it that if you're trying to play too hard, you won't get them.
Yeah.
You just have to kind of, and so, I love it. And so the two totally different styles that I get to just play sometimes back to back in the same set. So it's a blast.
I had a rehearsal with some guys a couple of weeks ago, and everybody in that situation plays in other cover bands, and we were just sharing some war stories, I guess, if you want to call them that. It's when they're learning songs, sometimes people don't learn them the same, or they're listening to different versions of the song or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then when they come together, like maybe the keyboard player is playing the totally wrong chord progression in like the bridge or something.
Boy.
And maybe they didn't like how the recording was, so this is their own artistic interpretation of what it is, but the guitar player learned the right way, maybe, or vice versa. And there's like this debate over what they should do.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why doesn't everybody just learn the song how it is? And then if you want to make it something different beyond that, at least everybody's starting at the same spot. It sounds like that would be the way that Jukebox would operate. Like, we're all going to commit to learning the song how this is, and then take some artistic license here and there.
Yeah. Things start to evolve a little bit live, over time. So
there's like we talk about Cliff in country. It's like not traditional country. It's that more Americana kind of sounding thing. And I don't normally go listen to that because it's just not
right.
I love Cliff, and so anything that I do with Cliff, especially his original stuff, I'm totally on board with.
Yeah.
And then sometimes Cliff will have us learn something to play that when I hear it, whoever the original artist is, I'm like, you really want to do that song? Of course, Cliff's way more in tune with what's happening in that, so I'll learn it. But I love Cliff's voice on it way better than than the original artist.
Yeah,
there's something, I just love Cliff's voice. And then if it involves you, right? There's a little bit of that Alf and Fred show that
think about the way that and it comes across more live when we do it, because when we recorded it, I kind of really held back. But the way we do Wicked Game, for example, the way that the song crescendos at the end, is a really good example of you and I bringing our sensibilities to the original. Mm-hmm. Mostly following it, but then loosening up as the song goes on,
right?
And then by the end, it's just massive.
But Cliff's going there too.
He is,
right? Because you can hear it, how he's building his voice and how he's playing his guitar. It's all, like you said, it's coming to this crescendo.
Yeah,
it keeps opening up more and more and more. It's really super awesome.
So talking about voice and stuff, Jukebox, John Pisano. Alf has come so far with his vocals. He's put in a ton of effort, and it's paying off. And he says, ask Alf about the Rush tribute. It's freaking awesome.
Yes, let's talk about Starman.
Yeah. Well, let me back up a minute and give Scott. Where was Scott?
Alexander?
Yeah. I want to give Scott Alexander some credit here. I was putting together a new pedal board last year.
Mm-hmm.
The time I had an outdated pedal I was using, because Jukebox goes all direct, no amps on stage. Everything is actually, you have to have a decent floor box to kind of modulate your sound. And I asked Scott a million questions, and he's got a garage full of gear. He's been through everything. And he convinced me to kind of up my budget a little bit and get this box. It's a Line 6 Helix or Mini thing. I can't remember what the name of it is. That's how gear centric I am. But he's like, look, this will give you what you want, but it will be the only one you ever need should you want to dial in other sounds in the future, right? And so when I started playing with the Rush guys, the beautiful thing about getting a piece of gear like this that's so well adopted in the market is that all I had to do was go to YouTube and say, who's got a good Getty bass sound, and how do you dial it in on this system? And some kid had literally been like, oh, this is my favorite Getty sound. I use these settings. You can actually download it directly and plug it in the machine, or I just followed how he built it out on the machine. And so now I have this crazy bass sound that's like I wouldn't use for anything else, because Getty's sound is really aggressive. Right. Yeah. But it works really, really well with my Fender bass. So anyway, that was a side note. I just wanted to give Scott a big thank you for having me get that Helix. It's been awesome. Mm-hmm. It's not the Helix, is it? I think it's called the Stomp, the HX Stomp. So thanks, Scott. Starman has our first show coming up. I have to look up the date.
November 15th, I think.
Yeah, it's at the Reef.
At the Reef.
I don't think I've been to the Reef since I went to see Mary play with Casio Dreams. This is a Rush tribute band with Fritz on guitar, Steve Kornick on drums, and we've got Jason Shower on vocals and keys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not singing.
I was going to ask.
I'm not singing that.
Yeah, I have a text message from our friend Jason Shower.
Just now?
An hour ago.
Oh, really?
And
with the flyer in
it.
Yeah, it's super cool. We're excited about this. As you can imagine, the first thing you think of when you're like joining a Rush tribute band is like, it's like a Zeppelin tribute band. It's like, okay, you're aspiring here, right? You're taking on, you're filling some really, really big shoes. You don't want to do it half-assed. You really want to do the music justice. And so when I went to the rehearsal, I think I learned 4 or 5 songs, and I had really gotten inside it. And this is another thing I wanted to talk about today was, man, what an age we live in. The way I learn 99% of my jukebox material or cover band material is I just go to YouTube and I look for someone that's already broken it down.
Yeah.
Piece by piece on the bass. Right. Yeah. So because I've always been a visual learner, I can look at people's fingers and kind of instantly get a sense of what I need to be doing. And all that stuff's out there, especially if the songs are well known. Right. Mm-hmm. And what Rush songs are not well known.
Right.
So we're going to be doing Free Will, which is the one that has that crazy bass breakdown in the middle. Right? Yeah, it's got that.
Oh, that part.
Yeah, that part. And
well, you have the right drummer for that band.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
right. When I went to rehearsal, it was like, okay, we'll see what's what when I hear Steve play through these songs.
Right,
and he's on it, man.
Yeah.
Poor Fritz has the job of
Fritz.
Yeah.
Poor Fritz.
Okay. So back to the gear thing.
Yes.
I'm not a gear guy. I don't want in jukebox, I have maybe 3 presets on my HX Stomp that I use. I don't like switching constantly. Fritz is over there dancing because we're so multi-genre, and a good guitar player is going to need to access a lot of different sounds.
Yeah.
More than the bass player does, right? Because bass tends to be a little bit more bass is bass from genre to genre. Yeah. But in Rush, he's got to do the same thing because Alex Lifeson was a big. So the albums have all these layered textures and things. So Fritz has to be very strategic in what he's doing, song by song, and which part he's going to emulate and how he's going to get that sound.
You think the whole crowd's going to be there going,
"Oh yeah, yeah." This is what I expect. Well, first of all, it's the Reef, right? So we'll probably clear out the last of the dinner crowd as soon as we fire up.
It says you guys play. It says you guys start at 9:30. So yeah, they'll.
And then there'll be whoever's decided to come out and see. Let's see what these.
These guys.
How are these guys going to massacre Rush tonight? They'll be sitting in the back, and because I would be too. I'd probably be in the back going, all right.
Yeah, we don't have anything going on that night, so
we'll be there.
I'll make sure Fred stands front and center. Shane Horsley did that to my band we played Thursday Thunder.
He stood right up front.
He was
Shane will do that.
He was like 6 feet away from the front of the stage, kind of in front of my space, and he just stood there like this with a smile. But you could tell he was judging.
I don't think Shane is a judgy guy.
It was just funny. I was like, he's doing the musician thing.
Jerry wants to sing on the trees. Well, we haven't put that one in the set list yet, but we'll let you know, buddy.
Well, I was going to post your flyer.
There is trouble
it's not letting me
in the forest.
Oh, yeah. That one's kind of a sleeper song for me.
I love it. But yeah, it's a little bit, that's a deeper cut, even for a lot of.
So I did drum cover videos put them on YouTube for just short of 2 years, maybe.
It was like, dude, it was like 10 months.
That was longer than that.
It was not even a full year.
She doesn't remember, right? Producer, get back to producing.
Oh boy.
But I have people, I'll get messages occasionally, people watching those like, I'm so glad you put this out there because I'm learning this song for whatever they're doing. And then I have my critics also that come along like, that's not how that goes. Well, it's how it goes this time.
Yeah.
But people would always say, you got to do a Rush cover. You got to do a Rush cover. You got to do a Rush cover.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm already hanging it out there in the wind as it is with some of this other stuff I'm doing. Like if I'm going to take that jump, I got to really nail it. And speaking of Scott
and he's
Alexander,
not interested in practicing and learning songs.
I am, but Scott expressed an interest in doing a cover of Red Barchetta.
Nice.
And that would be cool to do a cover with Scott playing bass on that.
I should do it.
Yeah, but I think Scott has probably learned it 2 or 3 times because I would bring it up. He's like, okay. And then I would start on it and not finish. And Scott's probably like, nah, that guy's never going to learn the drums for that song.
I have no idea. I don't know if they're all the same difficulty. You'd have to ask Steve with Starman or what he thinks. But, some aren't as bad as others. I think
I could get Red Barchetta down. But
yeah,
like I think Jared asked if you and I would do the trees with him.
That's right.
A long time ago, and I'm
that
like,
turned
nope.
into a stick song instead, right?
I think so. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing.
Yeah, Sweet Madam Blue. Remember?
Oh,
we did that here in the studio. That was a lot of fun.
I'm not doing a Rush song. I might do.
Okay.
I might do Red Barchetta with Scott, but that would be like, nah. I think I better stay in my lane. I have trouble enough staying.
I'm
in my
surprised to hear you say that. I there's nothing in your skill set in your playing and I've played with you for over 35 years that would make me think Fred can't get these parts. Fred
he can get the parts. He just doesn't want to be criticized. There it is.
I wouldn't worry about it, man. Look, I'm putting myself out on display for everybody.
It's kind of like Fred said, well, why don't you do a Whitney Houston cover? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be criticized. All the Whitney Houston lovers.
Yeah.
Forget it. It's like when it's your
I
favorite.
don't know.
When it's your
I get
favorite
it. I think you
artist,
should. And there's something I actually wanted to bring up to you guys.
Yes.
A pitch.
Okay.
Fred's garage. Or Fred and Mary's garage. Your version of Daryl's garage.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Daryl's
cool?
house.
Yeah.
Is it Daryl's house?
Yeah.
What a cool series that is.
Yeah,
Man,
I love that show.
you guys have all the gear to do it.
We have all the
So
gear. We
pick a couple people,
nice
pick a
to have
couple
more
songs.
Space.
That's
No,
true.
we got enough space.
Well,
You think
but
so?
I mean, but you're right. It would get cramped, and you'd need several cameras. It'd be like a multi-camera shoot.
Yeah.
Obviously, it'd be a little more complicated. But I think that'd be another way to grow.
I like that idea a lot, actually.
I think a lot of people would get there'd be a lot of built-in viewership for that, and I'd love to come over and jam.
Put it down,
songs.
producer.
So there's an idea for
We
you.
could have a rotating.
Also,
people coming
before we run out of time, too, I wanted to give you guys you and Mary a big shout out for everything you've done with your business and your brand since,
thank you,
2000. 2020, I should say.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
2020 was a really, really tough year for me. I lost a marriage. I lost a job. COVID, like the world was shut down. And you and Mary invited me over because you were in the process of trying to figure out how to become a full-time drum teacher.
Yeah.
And you knew that there was so much that needed to happen in terms of building a business and building a brand. And I think it was, I don't know, some early fall day. We came over and we sat at the kitchen. You remember I brought a bunch of markers over. I'm like, I'm going to help these guys plan all this out.
Yeah.
And
you built my website.
And some of the work that came out of that originally was some logo and some brand design, some website. But you guys have followed through on that plan so beautifully.
Yeah.
I that was about the extent of my work to see,
to
know that I was,
logo.
and the Fred Rock logo, but just to see what you've done with it since then, how far you've gone. And it's cool how well the Drummergy logo ties into that one.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be prouder of you guys because you have a full-time student roster now. This is episode
149.
149.
Yeah.
Like you were telling me before we started, how many people you've kind of reached with this and all the ways it can grow. I'm just so proud of you guys. And I'm inspired by your partnership and the way that you both work this. Mary has this growing, I don't know how you've done it, Mary. You've always had like a natural affinity for the tech side and the video and the production and the mixing. And
well, do you remember when she first came around and I was in the band and you were in the band, that she would video our performances?
Yeah.
Was that the ground floor really for you with that, Mary?
Probably. Yeah.
And if I think Mary has really good sensibilities with music too.
Mm-hmm.
And you could watch if you hired somebody else or a friend or whatever to video your band, and the guitar solo comes on, and they're like this with the camera, right? And they're not like they're like, and somebody could say something like tap them on the shoulder. They'll be like, "Oh, hey, what's going? Oh, the band's over here." She could like she knew. Okay, the guitar solo is coming. I'm going to focus on the guitar player or what. She really knew how to follow where the attention should go, or capture the whole band at once. And I think that's where it started.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
That's super cool. If anyone hasn't seen it, the video for Onward, for Midlines Onward on YouTube is a really good example of Mary's editing capabilities, because that was what, 4 or 5 cameras?
Oh gosh, it was
or more than that.
It was
including
21 files.
And so if you watch through that video and you see the kind of the rapid cuts and all the choices that are made as far as what to show when, that was
so much fun.
There's some really, really powerful editing instincts at work there. So, but anyway, no, just in general, man, it's been really, really cool to watch this happen. And I couldn't be prouder of you guys for building a brand, getting out of the landscaping business, which was literally killing you.
It was literally killing me.
This is another version of following that dream. It's never too late to say, okay, switching gears here. And that's been inspiring to me.
I've had really great friends in my corner, like really encouraging all this. And I mean, you've witnessed the growth of this space. And I had Scott Alexander on as a guest before I moved the show out into this room, did it in there. And which still works. When I'm by myself, I'll still do it in there in front of my fake brick wall. But Scott and I were talking about, like, it's amazing because Scott has like a similar space at his place for all his music stuff. And we're just talking about, like, people have little recording studios in their house and then they become like miniature television studios and just this multifaceted working space for doing music. And it's really cool how technology has allowed for that to happen. And, when I first started getting involved with this, I'd had certain people would say, "Oh, good luck with that." Or they'd be like, "Well, yeah, I'll be looking forward to buying this gear when it's up on Marketplace later," or whatever, and then you'd go to the other extreme of people would be like, "Yeah, you can do that, man. It's totally doable." And it's just really cool to. Well, but thank you. You had a lot to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Alf had a lot to do. Yeah. Like that launched the whole thing was getting the logo and the branding going, and then we still have our thing over here, the like vision board.
We can that's so
carry
cool.
That over.
The vision board is
the thing is like shortly after we did the branding was when we started all the drum covers. And the reason for that was twofold. Like, I was trying to learn how to mix and he needed drum students. I'm like, well, why don't we do this? And at first it was like, let's do like one a month. And then I was like, oh, let's do something crazy. Let's do one every week. And then I was like, I can't believe I just said that. And then like I committed to it, and it was really hard and stressful at first. Like, it would take me all week to mix the drums and get it the way I wanted it. And then to edit the video, which was always faster. But then I got down to, by the time we stopped doing it, we could do the whole thing in one day. Film it, mix it, and edit it all in one day.
Well, you get your workflow down, right? And then like within the DAW, and same with video editing, you start knowing where the tools are.
Yeah.
So you're not like, I wonder if I could, that cuts that time down.
Yeah.
As you know, being in the graphic arts world, you've got.
I was having to learn how to use a DAW, and then I was having to learn how to use Adobe Premiere, which, coming from Final Cut, that was I still there's so much that program's a monster, but like, I know how to do what I need to do. But
Rick says, I'd love to produce a show or two.
And I think that was after our comment about Fred's garage.
Yeah. Jennifer says Mary is a star, so impressed by her. Yeah.
Oh, you're a star, Jen.
Rick Oliver says Fred's house. Alf has a really good radio voice. And then James says, Fred, your attitude and positivity is a huge reason for your success. Thanks, James. And I always give James credit too as being a mentor when I got started with teaching.
Yeah, very
he's
much.
one's like, you can do it. You can do it. Well, while we were thinking, there's not enough people in this town that want to learn how to play drums.
Yeah.
That was literally our thought process. It's like, there's 2 teachers already. There's no room.
I mean, James is a very highly respected drummer and teacher, and you know, I've been friends with him for a very long time, and when I decided to get more serious about teaching, I called him up and I said, "Hey, is there room for another drum teacher in town?" Sort of pseudo asking permission, really. And he's like, "Oh yeah." And then we got together and had lunch and talked about a bunch of stuff, and it just kept growing from there. So James had a big influence on whether or not this could work.
You know, and that spirit of openness and willingness to kind of share and not like, you know, being selfish about what you think you have and have to protect is a way I've always just tried to kind of be in my musical life and in my regular life too, right? To just be very, very giving, because we all kind of benefit from the community benefiting. So, and having, you know, back to what I said about Anthony giving me that guitar and saying, go start your band, go do it. You can do it. You know, it's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can do it. I did it.
I've heard these stories. I think James probably had some people like this in his life too, where you get around certain people teaching music who are grumpy and they're not very inspiring to be around, and it's very clinical in how they teach, and there's certain attitudes and stuff. And I had one student who I taught lessons to for about 3 years. A lot of times it's like the high school years, right? I'll have those students for 3 to 4, maybe 5 years. Then they leave and go to college or whatever. But one student was really struggling, like absorbing information. And never once did I go like, dude, what, like, how can you not get this?
Yeah.
And he turned to me one day and he said, if I don't get this fast enough, are you gonna fire me as a student?
Aww.
And I said, no.
Aww.
I said, everybody learns at a different pace and a different style or way of teaching. And he's like, oh, good. Because I tried playing baseball and I tried playing soccer and I tried playing these different sports and stuff. And they either wouldn't be invited back for the next season, or they would just be like, hey, this sport isn't for your kid or whatever. And so you'd had some bad experiences.
That was me.
But like music is like, but music is personal, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to, you have several students or have had several students that their purpose of taking lessons is strictly for them.
Yep.
They have no interest in being in a band. They just have always wanted to learn how to play the drums, and it's some sort of like emotional release or just their artistic expression or whatever. That's all they want it for. Yeah. And so they can learn at whatever pace they want. Sometimes that one student that lives over there, she'd like to just come in and just give you a bunch of grief. Yeah. You guys would spend a half hour just laughing and carrying on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because did you practice? No. And I'm going to give you crap about it, Fred.
She would be playing something. I said, oh, you put an extra beat there. And she'd just say, no extra charge. So it's supposed to be a good, fun, welcoming environment. And I have people that are very, very serious about learning to play, and then some that the only time they touch sticks and hit stuff is when they're here.
Yeah.
And whatever their reasons are, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally
fine.
Jared Halleck is here. I really appreciate you coming so early on a Tuesday morning.
My alarm didn't go off. Fred comes out of the bathroom. All right, I'm out of the bathroom. I was like,
oh. I had one of those nights where, I told you I had little stomach issues.
But
I wasn't, you don't sleep very well. Like when you have to get up really early, you're always just checking your watch, like
flight or whatever.
But it was my pleasure to be here.
I get a little amped up on Monday nights because I'm trying to cross my T's and dot my I's for especially if I'm going to have a guest.
Yeah.
And and talking about like kind of the evolution of the studio, going from like a rehearsal space, and then it became a teaching thing, and now a recording studio, and having a like I was saying, like my discussion with Scott is like how things evolve into like this multifaceted space for doing music and social media and things. All of those things are so connected. Today, we are going to start a new part of this, which we have yet to come up with the title. But when I have my guests here in person, Mary thought it would be cool. I was like, well, let's keep the hang going and we'll just go have breakfast inside. So Mary, we're going to go in and Mary's going to make breakfast, which is what we've done with all our guests.
Almost all. We started with Jared.
We started with Jared. And so the people that have been here in person prior to that, we'll have to have them on again in the future,
and then
right?
John skipped out on his breakfast.
Right. So we got to get John back over here. But what I'm getting at is when I had Big J, our radio personality friend from 100.3 The X, we were in there and he's like, we were talking about, what his jobs are outside of just being an on-air personality. And he goes, what you could do is you should film the breakfast discussion.
Yeah.
And edit that video and then start like a paid subscription thing where if people want to see this conversation continue, and sometimes the conversation gets deeper, when you're in there, and he goes, that might be really interesting. So today we're gonna go from here into the house, into the kitchen, and we're gonna set up our cameras and we're gonna hit record and we're gonna experiment with this.
And
Alpha's
live.
Paid subscription to watch me stuff my face with
Well, you talked about Daryl's house, right?
Yeah.
And
what's part of that show?
They go and eat.
They go and they sit around the table.
Oh, really?
And they eat.
I usually just see the highlights from the jam, right?
Okay.
But I can imagine just listening to industry luminaries just talk about whatever.
Yeah, so they're all sitting around the table and they're
so the way it goes is they come in, they get together in the band room part, and they learn the songs.
That's right. That's part of what they do.
Then they go eat, and he's got like this chef that makes
I'll bet.
I'm not a chef.
Yeah.
But
we're practically
then
already
they have the
doing
chef,
it.
and then they sit around and they eat and talk, and then they go in and then they film the actual performance part of it. And that's the whole show. So you get to see the rehearsal, the food.
Nice.
So we're gonna see if we could maybe start building a little library of these and make the correct choices in how to present that. And Jennifer says, "Isn't that OnlyFans?" Well,
to my comment about, hey, watch me eat French toast.
Right.
I had a whole series of videos of Fred's.
You could have a fan blowing your hair as you're taking a bite of French toast, right? A little powdered sugar on your beard.
Oh my god.
No, but there's like a way to do subscription based things, like with my YouTube channel or something, and having a whole separate thing for that.
Yep.
So it's just part of the evolution of all of
always
this.
trying new things, right? That's how you got as far as you did now.
Yeah.
So
it just the pebble in the water of the pond and the ripples just keep going out from all of that. So
you got to try new things.
So that's what we're going to attempt, ladies and gentlemen, is turning the camera on while we eat.
While we talk.
We talk.
Continue the conversation.
We talk and we have
food.
conversation. Right.
Well, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank everybody for weighing in and watching this morning. A lot of you have been watching for 2 hours. My God. I never watched these for that long.
Wow.
That doesn't help.
Yes, James.
Steve, James says Patreon.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Obviously you've had a lot of people on here I know very well, so I'm a big fan of watching these and seeing what comes out in the conversation. But thanks everybody for watching and commenting. I love the local community we have of people, and I'm blessed to know so many of them and play with a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yourself included. Yeah, when's our next show?
I don't know.
Are we playing? We've got a couple days with Cliff.
It looks like Cliff that has you guys.
I saw that you're doing like maybe some duo stuff.
Yeah, and a Sapphire show maybe again this winter.
Cliff has you on the schedule for November 15th.
Awesome.
What's that?
Kidding.
Jesus,
I,
that's not funny.
he actually
Mary.
does have a show but it's not with
It's
you.
not with me. Okay.
I think it's just him and Sam.
That
or
is
something.
that is the one thing, and when you got multiple bands, you got to manage your calendar very carefully.
Well, you were
Look at your face.
such a constant with Cliff for a long time, and then Mark Gruber was a constant with Cliff for a long time, and now there's a little bit of a revolving door between
a solo gig.
You and Sam and Mark I haven't played with in over a year because he's really busy with Aaron Goulet.
I know, right? The guys are always traveling.
They are. They've got Cliff has more of the inside scoop of that. Everything's really, really going well, and got Cliff inspired in some ways with that. So yeah, it's all good stuff. It's really cool. Scott says, "Have a good one, Alf." What about me, Mr. Alexander?
They see you every weekend.
I know. Scott's so
Scott's
cool.
a bass player. That's why.
Yeah. Brian Albert, love you guys. Love you too, man. Brian, Scott, James, Jennifer, everybody for hanging out. We are gonna go do this thing now.
Make me some French toast.
We're gonna have French toast.
Yeah.
French toast is the thing.
There's little bottles of syrup sitting on the table.
I know, from Cracker Barrel, right?
It looks so
cute. I refill them. I keep them, and then I've refilled them.
I'm just gonna take a shot.
We're gonna need to have Cracker Barrel as a sponsor.
Oh, hey.
Well,
yeah, we were brainstorming like who can we get to sponsor our show.
We're gonna work that out. So we'll see you guys next week.
Right.
I will be on here. We're gonna talk about all sorts of stuff with life and music and so forth. So where's my end button? Here it is. See, I went to the wrong thing. All right, guys, we'll see you. Have a great day.